How much money does Helen Kim and her husband make every year? My God. You would think as a good semi-Marxist, she and her husband would be satisfied, Dan, with, I want to set the over and under here with listeners, giving her bullhorn, giving her big mouth. If she's making, she and her husband, over $150,000 a year family income, that's out of bounds.
Yeah, you would think, right?
According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, she and said husband, who was a notable attorney for one of the big opioid companies that caused problems, according to news accounts. They were making in the neighborhood, Dan, based upon the tax returns. By the way, she didn't release any documentation, just the top line number, in the range of $425,000 to $450,000 a year in family income.
Wait, hold on. What was that again?
$425,000 to $450,000.
So not $125,000 to $150,000.
No.
$425,000?
Yes. Wow. Does the Helen Gim mob, if you remember out there, I have a lot of them on Twitter. I don't know if any of them listen. They're too busy knocking on doors and screaming at people. I wonder if they're aware of that. What do they think about it? Well, she deserves it. See, all rich progressives up and down the line, they deserve to do whatever the heck they want because they're looking out for the little guys. You know, it's like the old Soviet Union. They can have villas. They always used to say villas. I love that. You can be Phil Murphy. You can be worth over $100 million. But what do you talk about? You talk about poverty. You talk about what? Equitable income. Equity. There you go. Nice work, Helen. Meanwhile, her attorneys are threatening 5 TV stations in Philadelphia to not run the ad that I just mentioned. They've been running that talks about this situation with she and the husband when she was on city council, voting on something that benefited his company, according to these ads.
I love that she's not even in office yet, and she's already trying to control the narrative.
Yes. Step 2, as a progressive, shut down the TV stations, make them the Helen Gim stations. It's only 2 weeks away to one of two things are happening. The mob celebrating, going wild. Larry Krasner there. Maybe Jane Fonda will pop in. AOC. Or 2 weeks away.
Will the Incredible Hulk be there?
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo. That's right. Or 2 weeks away to I'm there and suitably the end of the public career of Helen Gim at this point. Never know when she might surface again. Maybe you move to another city and run there. Jim says
she's fitting well with Portland, right?
Yeah, I want my Gim TV. Can you imagine though? $425,000 to $450,000, wow. According to what was released in the paper.
Where's that money coming from, Dom?
Now, we're under no obligation for our big debate, which will happen on May 8th, this coming Monday at 1:00, with at least 3 participants for mayor. An actual debate this time, to invite Helen Gim. So, Dan, I don't see why I should invite Helen Gim. Helen Gim doesn't want to debate. She just wants to shut down everybody else. And I don't know that I could have someone on the panel that is so scandalous that she and her husband are raking in that much money. That doesn't seem right.
Such a controversial candidate.
Yes. I mean, this should be a controversy all over the place. All right, 855-839-1210. You will get in. Now,
I mean, how can you fight against the heroin epidemic while also... Never mind.
Yeah, that's right. With the husband going home and talking about that over dinner.
Right.
What did your company do today? Yes. Well, we defended against the very thing that you're railing about there. Let's keep this. It's like a vaudeville act.
How can we get more people hooked on your drugs?
Yes. All right. Now, I wanted to talk about, and Dan's trying to get on. I mean, I was a big critic. Look, they've gotten some good results of the Camden Police Department. I just thought that Obama went overboard praising them. Headline, who is this guy putting this headline in there? Your neighborhood news online, tap into Camden. Neil Borowski.
That guy.
Yes, who's that guy? That's Dan's father.
Hey.
And he's got a big piece up about how the Camden police, once flawed. I went on a ride along with the city council person there when I first took over 9 to noon. right after the show. So it had to be, I don't know, like 2010.
You took a ride along through Camden?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
this guy was even better because the police can only say so much. The best ride along I ever went on was with these cops who did the reverse prostitution sting. In other words, they see a woman on the corner, the guy pulls up, and then the woman gets in with the guy, and then we swarm, pull him over at the next stop, Dan.
Mm. So
And
was the, prostitute a undercover officer?
no, 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 these were prostitutes. One at 17th and Rittner standing there in broad daylight. Not even alluring, just, I mean, in the sense of tawdry. I don't, maybe Hunter Biden would have bitten on this one, so to speak.
Ouch.
And these guys are saying, yeah, these guys are saying to me, "You think she's a hooker?" As we're driving down Broad Street, like every person. Oh,
So
it was,
they're asking for your opinion on who was,
yes,
who
who's a
wasn't?
hooker, who's not. Yes, I have to bring a lot of experience to this.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Ro, it's all
Zero
in the job.
zero experience
I
whatsoever.
think you've never been on. We have that. I have like 8 to 10 cuts of that, Dan. It is the most riveting.
Oh, is that where that's from? I have those
Yes,
cuts, I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
somewhere in
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll pull them up.
Okay, at some point today.
Mhm.
Anyhow, so the Camden Police Department are being lionized 10 years in. And there are several questions about this. One, how are they able to get enough cops to Camden Police Department? I'm not, look, I like their community policing connection. It seems to be a very well run department. They seem to have made a difference statistically, Dan, in Camden, right?
Yeah,
And
huge.
how are they able to get these cops? I know it's a county run department now, sort of, but how are they able to get and keep cops? Two, even Dan the Red said, wait a minute, the cops are tracked
Mhm.
all the time
Yeah.
by their cell phone, constant tracking anytime they're in the vehicle, out of the vehicle, whatever. And you thought, wow, that seems to be a bit excessive.
Yeah, so what they do over there, Chief Gabriel Rodriguez said in this interview that they know where every vehicle is at all times because they have a command center that tracks individual police officers by their cell phones. And we were talking about before the show. I mean, if you're in the police union, that's very invasive into,
Yeah.
privacy.
Yeah, exactly.
But allegedly the union over in Camden is supportive of this, and
All right.
yeah, but that's kind of crossing like so our conversation has come with cameras and 4K, and
Yes.
do I think surveillance is good? And I think giving police the tools for their job is indeed
Oh,
necessary,
man.
but
Political candidate. I like how you rephrase that. You went
yeah,
from the
yeah.
surveillance state to giving police tools for their
Yeah, you need
jobs.
to give police tools for their job.
All right.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
brings me to the next thing. They have a room and they actually take you on a tour there, Dan, in which they have cameras monitoring the entire city of Camden. And the police chief, I think in the interview with your dad or one of these interviews I pulled, said they'd like to have 1,000 cameras. Now, that does not include business cameras, the doorbell ring stuff and all. Police cameras in one setting, 1,000 cameras. So, Dan the Red, how do you plead on this? Because I have to say they have dropped crime numbers substantially. Now, you know how I feel. This
Mhm.
is way over the line. Is that what we ought to do? We would need like 10,000, 20,000 cameras here.
So yes, I do think that needs to be done. I think we need a lot of cameras there
Oh,
because it works as a deterrent. We're seeing the crime reduce there. But if I'm being completely honest in this argument, I think a lot of what's come with the crime reduction over in Camden is they have turned their department into, and you hear it often from Sherelle Parker, you hear
right.
from some other candidates that catchphrase community policing. And
Okay.
they have cops walking the beats. Almost every street, there's a elderly individual that's incommunicado with the police. I mean, police officers will go and cut the lawns of Camden, elderly, and it's essentially, I'll cut your lawn. You feed me information if there's something happening on your block, and they
All
real.
good. All good. I'm back to the cameras,
But
though.
back on the cameras.
1,000 cameras.
So my point in telling you that is I think it has to come in conjunction with other things, but I think the cameras really do serve as a deterrent because if you know you're going to be on camera, you're less likely to commit crime. I really believe that just to
Well,
be
of
generally
course,
true.
of course, but you don't see anything that we're giving up by doing this, the surveillance state here.
What are we giving up?
We're giving up some degree
Like
of
like
not
what's
being
what's the big fear of if cops put up cameras here in the city of Philadelphia,
Yes.
like, and we're just a standard citizen,
Yes.
and it's being used
Privacy.
properly,
Privacy.
but okay, but I'm just trying. What's the step? Like, what's the negative repercussion that comes with the yes, our privacies won't be invaded, but I think that the negative that comes with our privacy
Mhm.
being slightly invaded is greatly, countered by the safety that comes with having these cameras up there.
All right. The first one that calls in and says those who
No, no,
don't
but
let
I've
police,
never
we're
gotten
gonna.
an answer.
Oh, yeah,
What's
they're
what's
coming. They're
like what's
coming.
the big fear? Are we scared
Okay.
that police are going to knock down our doors because they note from the cameras that we're conservatives?
All right. I'll let
Is that
people
where it comes down
I'll
to?
let people answer that because I wanted to throw one more thing in, Dan, and you and I will flesh this out. I just saw this throughout the
Oh, can
show.
I just make it so
Yes.
mini on our youtube.com/@1210WPHT
Yes.
every day we do a dining with Dom and we're
Yes.
having a conversation over there.
Hey, the light's bad in here today. You never got to that.
I
My
know.
hair
I'll actually
doesn't
do that
like
right.
that.
I
I
noticed
really
that. I'm
worked
sorry
on the
about that.
hair today. Get some hairspray in it. Dorenzo, get the hairspray in here.
She writes in, Dan, you're surrendering your privacy and freedom, and I want to just argue.
Oh, boy.
I feel we've really surrendered our freedom here in Philadelphia because of the crime, the spike in crime.
All right. The dance continues.
I don't know if I'm being rused into some, forcing my hand. It's gotten so bad that I'm willing to surrender my privacy. But at this point, I'm really considering whether or not, taking away jobs or tools for the police is a great idea when we have such a spike in crime here in Philadelphia.
All right. 855-839-1210. All right. Oh, something will develop. Boy, big news breaking here.
Okay.
Biden's going to send 1,500 cops, military, to the U.S. military to the border. I'm not in favor of that stuff. Border Patrol agents ought to be able to stop this, not sending guys with bayonets, et cetera. What are they going to do? So we'll flesh this out throughout the show. And Dan just came down, DJ saw this, that the Super Bowl, this year's Super Bowl, they revised the numbers, is the most watched U.S. telecast, not just Super Bowl, but anything, anywhere in U.S. history.
Really?
The most watched, over 115 point something million.
Wow.
Question. What is the second most? I used to know it, what the second most watched was. I think it was the final episode of MASH, got 83 million. Here's why it's so hard to see what could possibly top that. Because with narrowcasting, where people have so many channels, are they ever all going to watch one thing? What would they be watching that would be at that number? So it'll probably be a Super Bowl. But other than a Super Bowl, coming up, let's see if we can figure out what's the second most watched other than a Super Bowl. 100. So the Eagles, and why is that? Why this year? Because Kansas City's a minor market, Is that Eagles nationally? That's a pretty proud thing. It's over 115 million people. All right, so we got the cameras going on, 855-839-1210. I'm in a lather already here. The lighting is bad. I haven't had a chance. Ro is texting me. The lighting. Get that backlighting
Fix the
going.
lighting.
Dawn's an expert in that. Get her in here. Let her work the dials here. You can't trust Dan on this. He's too busy putting cameras up here in the studio.
Yes. Oh, literally.
Well, think of the difference just doing the show on YouTube versus just doing it without YouTube. You're on camera, everything is exaggerated, et cetera. So, all right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. I'll give you the song. Let me take one call here to get started. Let's go to Greg out in Bucks County. Greg, you're on Talk Radio 1210. Thanks for starting us off.
Not a problem. Hey, Dan, listen, you don't need Big Brother to help you out, buddy. You're a big man. Take care of it. Come on. What's the matter with you? Come on.
Tell me? What are you afraid of?
It's not being afraid, but, with facial recognition, people know where you're at. God knows if the system gets breached, they got all this information. They can find you wherever they want. I mean, I don't understand. You want a cop to just follow you around while you're downtown?
No, I want a cop to follow around criminals and arrest criminals rather than let them run the streets and take over Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, that's great, but then we need a DA that's willing to prosecute.
I agree with you. I'm not going to
Let
disagree with you.
me intervene here,
Come on now.
guys, too. Dan, one of the things I wrote on my sheet, what do we know about the DA? I need some help over in Camden County. Matt Rooney or somebody listening. Is the DA tougher there? Might be.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I bet the DA is tougher because, to your point, Greg, Camden County is all in this together. And if you have a tougher DA, maybe that helps the police.
Absolutely, but I haven't seen the camera stop a crime yet, especially when they're wearing face masks and hoodies. Who are you going to pin it on? The guy with the dark hood
Yo,
on?
Greg,
I mean,
are you going to take a hammer away from a carpenter because he might hit his thumb and, make it big and injure himself?
Well,
absolutely not. But I certainly wouldn't replace me being able to protect myself with the camera.
all right. Thank you. Thanks, Greg. All right.
Wasn't Greg the guy that I broke the microphone over
No,
last
that's
time?
the Lafayette Hill guy. He's
Oh,
the guy
okay.
really want after you.
We should get the duct tape out. I'm
Yeah,
moving
right.
it a
Might
lot
need
today.
that today. Yeah. So why are they so successful over in Camden County? Does the DA have anything to do with it? But this guy, this police chief, we're going to try to get on. I saw in one article, wants 1,000 cameras now for a city to size. I taught in Camden. That's just, success. And he mentioned facial recognition, all these tools. You can have all them, but it's that people are afraid, I think, of the creeping of this versus doing the fundamentals right to stop crime. All right, get in on that. I'll give you the side question. It's a great one. I'm sort of thinking about Gordon Lightfoot passing at the age of 84 in relationship to this. And why was this Super Bowl the most watched telecast in all U.S. history? We're working overtime here to see if we can tell you what was in second place. I know the Beverly Hillbillies were up there at one point in the top 10, and I think it was the conclusion of MASH. And Dan, I have to attack a series that Ro and I loved, The Diplomat, because last night, right in the middle of the climactic scene, it's over for this year. I think there were only 7 episodes. What?
Oh, so they pulled the
Yeah, you can't give people 7 episodes.
Oh, it's terrible.
And then they go, but we'll be back next summer. What?
Oh, so they had like a cliffhanger that they ended it on?
Yes.
Oh,
That I can't say
Who
too
Shot
much about.
JR?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
yes. Did somebody live? The whole thing right at the end of it. And we didn't know that was the end until something came on and say, season 2 is officially now there. Well, we want season 1 to continue. What's wrong with these people? Come on. 855-839-1210. Get on board with Damn the Red. I'm trying here. I'm trying to restore order. And I don't know if Neil the Red Borsky might agree with that or not. He likes the police chief in this piece. Dan, does your dad still do the Route 70 and 73?
Yeah, 70 and 73 also.com. Yeah.
Okay. And he's got this tap into Camden to your neighborhood news online.
So I'm looking here. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but according to Wikipedia, which I know is the beacon of truth, Apollo 11 moon landing had 125 to 150 million viewers.
That seems to be a little bit inaccurate.
Yeah.
But that's not a show.
Yeah.
So
it's a news event.
Yeah, they're saying the moment of that news event.
So-
But I don't know
so-
if they'd be able to calculate that accurately.
That's number 1.
Yeah,
Rounding out the top 10 are all Super Bowls.
right.
Number 11, Richard Nixon's resignation speech.
Wait a minute. Nixon's yeah?
Allegedly 110 million
Okay.
average viewers, and that's coming from
All right.
Les Brown at the New York Times. And then MASH, you're right. The goodbye, farewell, and amen
It's still
episode.
up there.
It's
So
number 13.
And that's the
including news events
all-time,
and-
TV show.
And
That's up
that's
there.
just United States.
Right.
Were you talking US or the entire world?
No, this is U.S.
Okay.
telecast.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it the Eagles or that popular? Because I'm a home star power, I guess. But come on, it can't be the Kansas City Chiefs getting that kind of number
Is it
all
just,
time.
Is it just the popularity of football? Right, because you look at number
Well,
3 and
sure.
4 on the list, and it's Super Bowl 2022, and then
Yeah, but this is number 1 for now. I don't know if incrementally it'll go up every year or not. That's big news. 115 million plus just in the U.S. I'm sure some soccer match that ended 0-0 in Europe probably drew 1 billion people around the world or something,
what I'm finding is in a lot of countries, the number 1 was the passing of Queen Elizabeth, her funeral.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess in Britain, I assume, yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 855-839-1210. Coming up, more of your calls. And also, I'll give you the side question of the day on Talk Radio 1210.
Virtual health is here.
It is Dom. It is Dom time. Let's try that again. All right. So breaking down this Camden County now, they're not state troopers, right? They're county police.
Yes.
Yeah, some people trying to tell me they're state troopers who really New Jersey state troopers. Look, I look at the uniforms. I'm superficial. They look tremendous. The Pennsylvania, the hats. I could never get used to the hat. You got to come out, put it on for a half hour. New Jersey
I
just
love those hats.
looks so good. So somehow or another, they're able to keep their cops. They won 1,000 cameras, just police cameras, according to this, to watch Camden. They already have hundreds, in addition to business and your own personal doorbell and all that stuff. And we got the big debate again. They claim that's a big thing working. We can watch everything and it's going to deter stuff, etc. What are we giving up, though? Dan is on that other side. I'm coming to your calls. Let me give you the side question. Gordon Lightfoot passed away. I think it was yesterday, the age of 84. We joked about Gordon Lightfoot was the mayor of Chicago for a while because of Lori Lightfoot. Happened to see this the other day. A song that's so good. And you really have to stretch a little bit today with this, that you can make a film just coming out of the totality of that song. You can make a movie that would come from that. So I don't think the Macarena, I don't think you're doing that. You may not want to submit that. Dan, I'm going to say Hotel California.
Oh, it's a great one.
Yeah.
I'll take off a Gordon song. How about a wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald? Tell
Yes.
tell the story about the boat wreck out there in I think it was Lake Michigan, one of the Great Lakes. I think the largest boat disaster in Great Lake history.
People love to reference that song.
Yeah.
It comes up all the time. Yeah, without a doubt.
Rest in peace. And I'm also going to take off Eminem, Dom, your favorite rapper. He has a song called Stan that's about a super fan that writes him a letter, and when Eminem kind of shuns him, because you would assume that Eminem gets a lot of letters, Stan goes off the chain, crashes his car off a bridge. I think he kills his wife at one point. It's just an absolutely horrific story, but I think make her a great, great film.
I differ with you a little bit. You know what song I want from Eminem?
What's that?
The music, the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's it to me. I love that guy that he's able to get
It's kind of is a movie. I mean, 8 Mile is essentially telling the story of that song. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. My Eminem knowledge is thin but passionate when it comes to that moment.
You know your Eminem.
Yeah.
Slim Shady.
All right. 855-839-1210. You get on board. You can get in right now here on Talk Radio. That's the side question. Think about that one a little bit. It is with that song that could stretch into that in every way that you like it. All right, we got the great camera debate going on. Whatever they're doing in Camden, could it be replicated? It's smaller, it's not all of Philadelphia, but it seems to me, I look at the police chief, and Dan, you said the rumor out there, this guy might be under consideration to be the police commissioner of Philadelphia.
I think that was just a thought. Conversation back and forth. Wouldn't he do a great job here in Philadelphia more so than anybody actually considering him?
I mean, it just stuns me. I don't care the racial characteristic and all the rest. We all know this silly outlaw to be the police commissioner. It's just the walking face of what progressivism is about. How could this city just be locked day after day in this kind of malaise? And nobody makes an attempt to say, you got to take Jim Kenney out of office. This guy doesn't want to do the job, isn't doing the job. It's not worth it. It would be worth it. Get him out. Even if he got a day less on his pension, get him out of it. By the way, Maria Quinones Sanchez endorsed Sherelle Parker for mayor. And to me, that's a tell that she thinks that Sherelle Parker is going to win. So I think the big three are Rebecca Reinhardt, Sherelle Parker, and Alan Dom. I don't think Gim in the end is going to get over the top. She'll have to go back to her $400,000 income, complaining about income inequality. Where will she go if she's not mayor? What will she sink her teeth into next? Probably another city to bother them. She is from Seattle, after all. All right, let's go to Anthony in Wilmington. They know about crime big time. Hey, Anthony, thanks for the wait.
Hello. Hey. Hi. Good afternoon. Yeah. So I was just thinking. I was never for the Patriot Act when it first came out, and I'm still not. And the reason being is because it's not keeping us safer. It's just infringing on our rights, and that's where we're getting to a slippery slope here. Where they put cameras up. I don't know if that makes us safer that they catch the crime after it happened. I have a concealed carry. I'm okay. I can handle myself. I just think that even with the financial issues where they flag the bank if it's over a certain amount. I mean, it didn't catch Hunter. And as far as going to the airport, I have to practically get strip searched to get on a plane nowadays. And I used to just go through a metal detector and everything was
Mhm.
was fine.
So you
So
you see this as just a piece of the overall. See, it's not just the cameras. You're right. It's the overall idea of let's just increase. And the airport is the best example. I wouldn't mind the inconvenience, except they're not going to do profiling of the people that are most likely to blow up an airplane.
well, most people sit there and say, well, if it makes us feel safer. Well, if they come in and search my home for ICBM missiles, it would make us feel safer too. But I don't want them coming into my house and searching everything.
All right.
It's just against my fundamental freedoms.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, Dan, that's where there's a party. I think these people where the difference is they're linking all this together. It's encroaching. It's a mentality on one side or another. And again, if you're doing all the fundamentals right and we still have crime problems, you may have to have a different conversation, but I don't think anybody can prove we're doing the fundamentals. But my airport thing is the best example. I don't mind taking off my shoe, the whole thing. But it's obvious that we ought to be profiling like the Israelis do in different ways. And if you do that, then maybe I'd put up with a little bit more. All right. Easy one today. Everyone probably has one. Give us that all time song that you think could be made into a film just coming. I mean, it sounds like a weird concept. And do you see anything more, Dan? I just saw it on Fox this morning. Suddenly, Biden, in order to look good, is going to send 1,500 military, U.S. military, to the border. What are they going to do? I mean, that's not their role, really. Let the Border Patrol do their jobs, increase the Border Patrol, stop these people, put them on a plane or put them on a bus and take them back to their home country. That's what we ought to be doing. We ought to be doing what Trump did. Trump didn't send troops to the border. Now, I would consider using the military to bomb the drug cartels. Yeah, that I would do. But sending the military to the border, this is all just you created this problem. He's trying to get out from under before the election. And he's going to say, look, I put the U.S. military, you're putting them in harm's way. I don't know that this is the right role for them. It's a military force. It's not a paramilitary force like the Border Patrol. All right, 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Let's talk about my friends and who I go to for anything involving technology, phones, whatever it might be, batteries. That would be Roy and his team of trusted advisors, Batteries Plus Bulbs. Listen to this review that he got recently from Matt Pierce. Now, Matt works with a fleet of vehicles, and he wrote this place, Batteries Plus Bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield. They have batteries from cars to pickups to heavy-duty tractor batteries, boats, the whole thing. The owner is a nice guy. He's not afraid to come out and give great advice. And if they don't have your battery, typically the next day they have it. So we're in the spring, time to plan ahead for all those nice rides in the nice weather. Roy and his team have the inventory for all those seasonal battery needs. Northfield and on Tilton Road, Mount Laurel on Route 73. Batteries for boats, motorcycles, ATVs, and more. Customer service. You will notice Roy's people are incredible when it comes to that. If you need your key or key fob duplicated, they'll do it at about half the cost of the dealership. Anything involving technology, you're in business, give Roy a call. 856-638-0778. Two big stores, Mount Laurel and Northfield, 856-638-0778. Oh, I thought it was the real thing, the music, the moment.
Oh, you want the real thing?
That's okay. Later in the show, maybe. Yeah. Oh, God. Speak it.
I love the smile on your face. Let me put the
It speaks to me.
camera back on. Well, you can't hear it on the YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210WPHD. You can see Dom live, Dining with Dom every day. Again, YouTube.com/@1210WPHD. Go like and subscribe. Right now, Dom's beaming ear to ear as we listen to Eminem here on the radio, but you can't hear it on the YouTube stream because of
Yes.
streaming rights.
Now, that is a story. That is a film in itself. Okay. I don't have the numbers yet. Lawrence Jones filling in for Tucker last night. And there's a quack of people that think Lawrence Jones will be the 8 o'clock host. I don't think so. But if you watched last night, Brian Kilmeade, I think, was put in there just to familiar face, stop the bleeding a little bit. Very difficult to do. I don't think Lawrence Jones will be the guy at 8. Did a show with him, Dan, behind the scenes at Chicky and Pete's. Very nice guy. Very good. Fox is under attack on Twitter. Oh, that's just an affirmative action pretend move. My God, to advance a guy to try out for the 8 o'clock show. But here is, this is cut 10, Dan. This is from this Jonathan Lemire, who I think this is from MSNBC or
Morning Joe.
Morning Joe.
Yep.
And this guy, I don't know how he ever got there, but he makes a good point. Kevin McCarthy was confronted by a Russian journalist who asked him a question. And McCarthy, this was in Israel, went off attacking the Russians for killing kids in Ukraine, etc., and talked about how he supports continued American support, spending, and resources for Ukraine. Listen to this, Jonathan Lemire. He connects that kind of response to the fact that Tucker Carlson is no longer on Fox. And think for a moment what Carlson would do with McCarthy's response here if you were on Fox. And I would be in agreement with him, other than the Putin stuff. All right, here's what Lemire says.
No doubt. This is the strongest he has been in terms of supporting Ukraine and denouncing what Russia has done. I'll parse it a little bit, though. He's never said that we shouldn't support Ukraine. He just said it shouldn't be unlimited support. Right. So, and he didn't say differently here. So that's still a debate that could be coming this summer or fall, is whether or not that this, especially if the counteroffensive, Richard, as you and I have been talking about, if the counteroffensive doesn't go as well as Ukraine hopes it does, could that impact the calculation as to the funding that comes? And it also should be noted that his strong support of Ukraine comes after a very prominent voice on cable news, on Fox News, is no longer on the air. A voice that was very skeptical of U.S. efforts to help Ukraine.
You're so cynical. No, but you're right. There will be a big debate this fall, depending upon how the offensive.
All right, so Tucker Carlson, second to none, I think kept these Republicans sort of in line, and a whole gaggle of them came out when he was fired to say people on Capitol Hill can breathe now when it comes to Ukraine. And I think this Lemire guy is kind of right in that McCarthy was a little bit more going after this Russian and more than what he said before when he said, no, we're not going to unlimited spend in Ukraine. Okay. And now we have this offensive going on, trying to go back toward Crimea. I mean, the bottom line is Republican Party is going back and forth over this. Trump has the upper hand, I think, because no rational person wants unending wars, the resources, the potential for it widening, the potential that American troops somehow or another get put in. And when Tucker was there, DeSantis answered a survey on this along those lines, along Trumpian lines. I think what this guy's saying is right. Maybe Kevin McCarthy feels a little bit more emboldened now. And maybe some of these Republicans do to move a little bit more back to, if not unlimited, spending a whole lot more in Ukraine. And I think that's a mistake. I think the base of the party is where Trump is. I think people have had it with this. And unless the Ukrainians, and if they do, let's say the Ukrainians do very well in this spring, summer offensive, and somehow or another they break through. Okay. I think the position will be of Trump and the base. Well, it's time now to try to bring an end to this conflict. You have some parity in this. What can you do to negotiate a settlement and stop this. And there's also a story out there from a website, Hot Air, and a couple of others, that the Murdochs talked with Zelensky short period of time before Tucker Carlson was fired. Now, I don't think Zelensky had Tucker Carlson fired. I think there were a multitude of other things. But I think he was playing the refs there with the Murdochs, saying this goes too far with this guy. This guy's getting in the way of what I'm up to here. Now, I don't like Carlson and some of the Putin stuff and the Russian stuff, but on the Ukraine thing, I'm in agreement with him. Is this guy right now? Republicans are going to be off the reservation because Carlson is not there. Who on Fox is going to be critical in that kind of way? I don't think Hannity will be, maybe Ingram, but not in the way of Tucker Carlson. Jesse Waters, not going to do that. It was a unique voice. He'd bring on Tulsi Gabbard, people like that, and they go after, and rightfully so. How long are we going to go down this path with Ukraine? Phone lines, 855-839-1210. Hit me with that song that could be a movie. The story, the song is so great, so compelling. Let's go to Ann in Norriton, Pennsylvania. Hey, Ann, what's your song?
Mac the Knife.
How come Mac the
Bobby
Knife?
Darin. That's about a murder.
Okay, yeah, that qualifies. Okay, we'll put you down for
that's a
that
good
one.
answer.
All right, okay. Yeah, I never thought about that in some way. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. All right.
You think the listeners are angry that I'm playing the Bobby Darin version and not the Frank Sinatra version?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Bobby Darin version better.
Do you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Picked the
On
right
this
one
song.
then.
Yeah. All right. So it's 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is push pound 1210. Without Tucker Carlson there, are Republicans going to now move closer and closer, just keep spending in Ukraine, keep on moving more and more down that path? I think they are.
You know, I want listeners to come prepared for our side question. And not only do we want to hear,
Yes.
I'm not going to hold them to this, but I want to hear the lead actor or actress and the role that they'd be playing in the realm of
Okay.
the song. So, for example, that last one with Mac the Knife, why not hear who are going to get to play these characters?
Yeah, give us one if you can.
Yeah, just
and,
one.
It adds to your call. Yeah. Yeah, we'd rather you just not blurt out, something and then go off into the wilderness. Sell it to us. That's what it's about, to get your name into that hat. 855-839-1210. You get in right now. There's certain home maintenance chores we'd all rather not do. Repainting the exterior of your home every 5 years, that's a big one. Who wants to do that? Well, here's an incredible permanent solution to that problem. It's Rhino Shield. Now, Rhino Shield looks like paint, goes on like paint, but it never chips, cracks, or fades. It's ceramic coating. It's guaranteed for life. You never have to paint again. The local Rhino Shield owner, John Gilgee, great guy, friend of the program. I'm impressed with him, the product and company, and so are listeners. It's perfect for any surface. That means you get the beauty of fresh paint, you get the maintenance of vinyl, even insulate your home, comes with a 25-year guarantee that you can transfer if you sell your home. Now, John meets with as many homeowners as he can himself, and they've helped thousands of Delaware Valley residents, including many of my listeners, upgrade the look and quality of their home. You call John Gilgee right now. Right now, he's offering 10% off for a limited time to my listeners. Visit myrhinoshield.com or 844-RHINO-99, 844-RHINO-99. I was going to make that my choice. I don't know if the guy who wrote that is a one-hit wonder or not, Dan. I think he's got a couple of other things. But that, that style, how many songs? It's an opus. I love that word, an opus. Dom
The
Giordano?
American troubadour, Don McLean, you hear. I think
Yes.
Castles in the Air might be the only other
Yeah,
thing
but
that I
he
recognize.
does opuses. How many opuses or opie can you do?
It's true, yeah.
All right, welcome in. That's the side question today. A song that could be a film. Big column at the Inquirer saying that when New York had those shootings 6 months ago, whatever it was, they put more cops, more trained people in their underground, their subways. Crime is down 21%. Here's the stat of the day, Dom's nugget of the day, Dan. 2019 on an average day, 239,000 plus rode SEPTA platforms, everything, right? Now it's only 110,000. I think they're mainly talking the subways.
So what was it from to?
239 to 110.
Wow.
Now I know COVID and all that, but come on. And people are afraid of being shot there. So the guy writing this in the Inquirer says, well, you ought to ask the candidates for mayor, what would they do since the mayor won't do anything? Put more police there. Yeah. Where are they coming from? That's the whole problem. I really was hoping, and these candidates for mayor, Dan, are too cautious. I'd like to see one of them just break down and make a pledge. If I'm elected mayor, I will literally do and come up with what you're going to do. But we are going to hire. This is what I want to hear, Dan. I look into the camera right there and look at the others, Helen Gam. We are going to hire at least 2,000 more cops in my first year, at least. And Helen Gim, you and your crowd are not going to stop us. How do you like that? All the bullhorns in the world are not going to stop us. Then detail what you're going to do. Because somebody who's able to hire 2,000 more good cops is somebody who's going to be recognized as having the backs of cops. About the only one who speaks passionately about this is Amon Brown. And he makes the point that morale will be better because they'll have their back and he'll fight this fight for them. He's not doing so well. He's right down there with the guy who denied Santa Claus to kids. But I wish the others would adopt that as their platform. You need more cops. That's the bottom line here. All right, we got a big 1 o'clock hour coming up. Man, Hunter Biden, does a guy get to be a bigger creep than these Bidens? Yesterday, the testimony, he can't fork over the money. Although, Dan, the baby mama is getting $20,000 a month. I got to ask guys who went through divorce. They may be on Hunter Biden's side. Look, they might be saying, hey, that's enough here. How much are you getting out of it? I don't know if he's behind or not on that. I also want to talk about the safe injection vote yesterday in the Senate in Pennsylvania. And a guy who won't come on the show out there in Montgomery County who will not allow it to come up for a vote in the House. I'll give you all that and Dan Time with Dom on Talk Radio 1210.